Hi, welcome back to Wild Speculations. I'm Daniel.
I'm Scott.
This week we talk about Critical Role Campaign 2, Episode 97, The Fancy and the Fool.
Yep.
Good episode.
I'm just going to come out right and say it. Last week, I was like, this is what's happening. You're like, well, all these things happened, and everything you mentioned last week is exactly what.
We used to joke early on that not only did we talk spoilers for the last episode, that spoilers for potential episodes.
Yeah, and you spoiled the whole episode pretty much. I don't think anything happened in this episode that we haven't called at some point, though.
Yeah. I was trying to remember the exact episode that we called Essek, being the one that gave the beacons.
It was whatever episode they introduced him as the liaison.
Yeah.
We talked about him, that being the perfect position for the one who leaked it, and and I think we talked about it a couple other times, but definitely right then at the very beginning, I said, yeah, he's the perfect. It's, would be perfect to have it be him.
Yeah, and because he was always pushing them on the demon train.
Yeah.
Not, you don't need to figure out where the beacons came from. But we get the name of two ships.
Mm-hmm.
The Blue Heaven and the Winds of Eons.
Yep.
And as soon as Matt said Blue Heaven, the song started playing in my head, and I was thinking of the Black Mirror episode, San Junipero. Not that it has any bearing on the episode or anything, but that's just where my brain went.
Fair enough.
Thursday night. But
never seen Black Mirror, so mine went to the Steve Martin movie. Blue Heaven.
But yes, we get them out of the tower quickly.
Yep.
And Beauregard tells Caleb, I want to overhear that conversation. And so he has Frumpkin sneak into the ship. And conveniently enough, that's where they go. They go to the gun deck to have their conversation. And Ludinus casts a Dispel, revealing Essek.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, this is going to be a good episode.
Yep. And I do want to point out, back in episode 90, Adine, Tascan Dean, forget his last name, right? Anyway, he was interrogated by Essek and admitted to under control of Oban giving the beacons.
Well, and if you remember, Matt narrated Essek being very interested in Ford's ploy, because I think Essek had already set it up that the Dynasty believed this guy was guilty.
Yeah.
And the guy had already admitted in front of other witnesses that he did these things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he wanted to make sure that the Mighty Nine would believe it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The Mighty Nine, after Caleb sees this, he's like, we need to go somewhere. We need to go to the ship and talk.
Yep.
He reveals it. They have their in-character reaction, trying to capture some of that initial stand-up, what the...
Yeah.
And then they move on. to not.
Yep.
And she said, I promised the next time he saw me that I would be me.
Mm-hmm.
So they set off to get the clay and the gems. Matt says, easy enough. Charges them money.
Yep.
We had a funny moment where it's 50 pounds of clay. Yasha's like, I can carry it. I was like, I can too. And Bo's like, I'll meet. Oh, no, it's only like 12 pounds a piece. That's not impressive at all. So she throws hers like forward, and he mimics, being encumbered. And Yasha's like, I can take it for it. He's like, no, I got it.
This is how I walk when I don't care.
And Ford's strength of 13, his encumbered, if they were playing with encumbrance, weight would be 65 pounds.
Yep.
So he'd be pretty close with half that clay.
Yeah.
The other early moment in that section that was sort of a taste of things to come in some ways was Bo's Marisha, her rather clever suggestion that is a tattoo not an object.
Yeah.
If you were to tattoo lewdness,
you have intimate knowledge of that tattoo.
Yeah. Which led, wait, intimate knowledge? What? She's like, no. And then it came, if I tattooed your bicep, I would intimate knowledge of your bicep. Oh. And I was like, okay, this show is now just a harem anime with Jester as the central character.
Yep.
At this point.
Which I'm sure Laura's 100% fine with.
Yeah, I think so. But they get to the ruby. To the
Lavish Chateau.
Lavish Chateau. I was like, something chateau. What's the first word? And Jester comes clean with getting the tattoo. And
yeah, not much pressure to do so, but
no, but it's a callback to that episode when they first got it, when she was doing everything she could to hide it. And rather than the detailed info dump that they've given Marion in the past,
mm-hmm.
Jester just hits the highlight about the Traveler.
Yep.
And Marion's like, well, it comes a time in every child. I was like, no, he's real. And then everyone in the Mighty Nine, Marion's like, oh, sure, of course. And everyone else is like, no, we saw him. And she's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, it's okay. She's dictating the relationship. And it's like, oh, good.
Yeah.
And then they invite her to the party.
Yes.
And Caduceus is like, And as with so many things, Caduceus is probably right. Jester finally realizes, oh, this is a party in high society. Lord Sharp might be there.
Yep.
And that's when I was like,
and it's actually in his area.
Yeah. And Sam takes the opportunity to have not give her goodbyes to everybody.
Yep.
Because she doesn't know if this is going to work. This might kill her. She doesn't know.
Yep.
And probably one of the more touching ones was Ford. But my favorite one was, Yasha, I'm pretty sure, I'm only 60% sure you're not evil. Just like, it should be lower.
Yeah.
And then Matt trolls his own NPC by blowing up the bathtub.
Yep.
I'm not sure why he did that, because it didn't have any of that kind of an effect the last time they tried to do it. I mean, it didn't work last time, but in the description of the spell, it doesn't specify that everything around the target takes force damage.
It's true.
And I was just kind of like, huh, that's kind of mean. And Liam was kind enough to put the details out in the tweet.
Which I'm looking at right now, because, well, it didn't say anything about force damage. The clay encasement did explode the first time.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Although it doesn't say anything in the spell about that. This permanently affect, basically change him to another type of humanoid. It reverts all the racial stuff except for languages. Languages remain unchanged. You can change your gender if you wish. And when it's completed, both the caster and the target suffer a level of exhaustion. And then once the race or gender has been changed via the spell, they cannot be affected by it again for 1 year.
Couple things to keep it from being abused. The exhaustion, the year time frame, and the gold cost.
Yeah. Clay in weight amount of whatever the person weighs. So the bigger you are, the
more clay you need. I was happy when Matt clarified that in the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of surprised Sam didn't say, that's rude to ask a lady how much she weighs.
Yeah. And then the 150 gold worth of crushed gems.
Yeah.
I think they should have taken full advantage of it and turned him into a Goliath. Not into a Goliath.
No. I am worried what Essek will do with that, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, theoretically, I know he's not this. He's trying to push Dunamancy, and you've got part of the whole thing with it in the beacons is the resurrection thing, or reincarnation, basically. He could be presenting it as a way, hey, I've come across this new spell which will allow us, once they're reincarnated, we can return them to their old body.
It's an interesting
That's
pitch.
The patriotic use of the spell.
But my concern is that the dynasty, with their spy master, now has a way to straight up.
That's true.
Transform somebody into a human and send them into the Empire.
Yeah.
It can't be dispelled. It can't be detected because they are that thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a huge get out of jail free for Essek. Because if the beacon stuff ever does come to light, he can change himself up and bounce.
Yeah. Can you cast it on yourself? I mean, it doesn't say you can't, but
yeah,
it does have. I believe it has.
I didn't notice anything in the wording that said that you couldn't cast it on yourself. But I had the same reaction as everyone at the table when Sam
my
used
argument,
the new voice.
my argument would be that it has somatic components, and it's kind of hard to do somatic components when you're encased in clay.
It doesn't say you're restrained.
That's true.
And even being restrained doesn't necessarily stop you from doing somatic.
That's true.
So
I think that would be dependent on the DM's interpretation. Because the way Matt was describing Caleb's somatic gestures, I don't think being encased would be able to, the way,
I don't know,
the way he was miming it.
The way he was describing it, though, the clay became very fluid.
Yeah.
And flowed over the form of the person. So.
Yeah. Up to your individual DM, I guess.
I wouldn't stop it, just because there's no language in the spell that says you can't cast it on yourself.
I probably ultimately wouldn't either. But even as the caster, I would argue, I would check with each DM because they'd be like, hey, does say in case, there's.
I mean,
you.
So as written,
mechanically you could definitely cast on yourself. Narratively,
well, the thing is it says the target and the caster
each suffer a level.
So if the caster cast it on themselves, that could mean they suffer 2 levels of exhaustion.
That I would probably rule that, because that to me would narrate that I'm completely encased in clay but still making the gestures.
Yeah.
It's that much more exhausting on me.
Yeah. He also gave out the Widowgast Vault of Amber.
Yep. Which I like that one a lot.
I have some issues with it. The casting time is a little wonky.
Okay, I agree there.
It's
a ritual in 11 minutes. So it's 11 minutes, 21 if you cast it ritually.
Yeah, I don't get that. I think that's an errata. I think it's, in his mind, it was a 1-minute casting, 11 for the ritual.
That makes more sense to me.
It's also more in keeping with every other spell. 1 minute, 10 minutes, and an hour are the sort of standard.
It's bonus action, 1 minute, 10 minutes, hour.
Yeah. So I think that's probably just an errata.
Mm-hmm.
I am a little concerned at the way that the components and the specific wording of which gem is chosen. It says 200 gold worth of...
5 small amber gems worth 200 gold.
Yeah. The biggest of which is the actual...
Is the
vault.
container, yeah. I mean, you could have one that's 150 gold and 4 that are 13 gold each.
Well, it'd be 25.
If one's 100.
Oh, no, I see what you're saying, yeah.
I mean, if one's 100 and 4 are 25, there's 205 gems, yeah.
Yeah.
You arrange 5 small amber gems in a loose circle around any non-living materials and trace transmutive sigils above each of them. Materials within the circle are pulled into the largest of the gems and stored there in stasis. The contents do not age, weather, or rot. The gem can hold up to 500 pounds of material. Caster can use an action to speak a single chosen word and release the gem's contents onto the ground. Contents are also released if dispelled.
Yeah. The casting time and the wonkiness of the wording of how each one, how the gym components work, is my real sticking point. The 500 pounds, it basically makes it a bag of holding.
Yep.
That weighs nothing, that you have to do a little extra to retrieve stuff from. Although from the wording, it seems like it's all or nothing.
Yeah, you can't just retrieve one item. It's everything you put in there.
Yeah. The fact that it doesn't age, rot, or anything like that is also interesting.
Yeah.
From a narrative and mechanic standpoint. Because how often have you thought about putting the halfling in the bag of holding?
You can't put the halfling in the amber. It specifically says non-living material.
Oh, yes. Okay. Well, you can put the halfling's body.
Halfling body. Flesh to stone. Then into the... I'm going to petrify you first. Then we'll put you in.
We would like the asset alive. Barring that proof of termination is acceptable. But we got a preview of a conversation that hasn't happened yet between Veth and Yeza.
Mm-hmm.
When Yeza says, she's not mine.
Yeah. She's her own person.
Yeah. And the rest of the middle third of the episode is Veth's sex time.
Yep.
And we also get a preview of the abandonment that will happen at the end of the episode. When Yeza asks them to look after Luke, they basically fuck off and go shopping.
Yep.
Now, he seems fine just running around the place anyway, and seems to be bedeviling the maitre d' bartender.
Yeah. Maitre d', I think. The doorman.
Yeah. Which means somewhere out there, there's a Sweet Life of Luke Disney show.
Yes.
Where the doorman's played by, I don't know, Tim Curry or something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Where he's just constantly getting in this guy's hair.
They've already got a boat for the spin-off show.
Yep. But we get into the shopping and flirting portion of the episode, as I like to call it.
Yep.
Where Caleb finally says the spell that he wants to try to find a scroll for.
Yes.
And Matt indicates that you're probably not going to find that in the shop, but you do know a wizard in town.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes to the Tide Peak Tower and exchanges his golem, which he had lent to
stowed with repairs for repairs.
Yeah. Golem for the Globe of Invulnerability spell.
Yep.
Good trade, and he didn't even have to buy the materials to learn the spell.
Yeah. Or to transcribe, yeah.
I thought he was going to go for Odaluke's Resilient Sphere.
Yeah.
And I wonder why he didn't. Other than, in theory, the Globe of Invulnerability can encase multiple people. Because it's 10 feet across. So, in theory, 4 people can be inside of it. And it protects them from any spell being cast.
Mm-hmm.
Where Odaluke's Resilient Sphere is just the caster, but they're protected from everything. No attack can get through, no spell, nothing.
Yeah. And
you can move. The Globe of Invulnerability, you can't move.
Yeah.
So I think the reason he did that, two reasons. One, Scanlan had Luke's Sphere in campaign 1.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to say Bigby's hand, but he liked the spell because it's a good spell.
Yeah.
So he reskinned it as Cat's Ire. So that's reason number 1. Reason number 2, what they can use the Globe of Invulnerability for, they used the Dome for.
Mm-hmm.
The Tiny Hut for.
Yeah.
Only the Globe is much faster to cast. So I imagine they will be using it how they used the hut. But that's going to be an awesome visual when Caleb casts that and someone else casts like Meteor Storm or something. And there's just this 10-foot area that just...
Yeah.
Because he can upcast it and it protects from all lower level spells.
Yep.
So that will be cool if they can pull it off. But I don't think if he's using against members of the Cerberus Assembly, it's more likely that they will then start to ignore him and kill all his friends in front of him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Disintegrate. Finger of Death. Disintegrate. You gonna come out yet? No? Yeah. So we'll see. But we get my probably second favorite scene of the episode between Bo and Yasha talking innuendo around Ford. And Ford's just like, should I go?
Yeah.
I wonder if, like, that's just Travis just being uncomfortable by it. And, or if it's just Ford is uncomfortable by it. Because, I mean, he stood up and gave Laura a standing ovation last campaign when she did the bathtub thing.
I think it's more Ford than Travis.
Okay.
And he's kind of played him like that.
Yeah.
I think it's Travis when it's aimed at him. But because it was aimed at him originally and Ford responded that way, it's kind of become a Ford thing for period around him.
That's fair. So we got one step closer to that coupling. And Ford asked, did they put alcohol in your fish? And Yasha reminded everybody that she still has Knott's flask. And I think we're a step closer to that happening, and potentially in a negative way.
Yeah.
But also potentially not. Like that was the first scene also where, yes, we got closer, but also that maybe it might not be bad.
I think it's going to be bad if it happens. I still have a feeling that my guess is Yasha's okay with the flirting, but if it came down to it, she'd pump the brakes. She'd be like, no, I can't do this.
Yeah, well, I mean, her reaction to Jester certainly adds credence to that.
Yeah.
For sure. I can't believe it. I didn't put the dress up in my notes. But that was a huge...
Yeah, Taliesin and Lori get to conspire to play paper dolls with everybody.
And give all the fan artists something new to draw.
Yep. There's one that was great. It was a picture of, at the party, but Caleb and Jester dancing. And she posted it once, and I forget the person's name, and she's like, oh, I forgot to add it with the tattoo. She put it up with that, and then she put another one up with the tattoo. And I hope she wins the fan art, because that was just amazing, I thought.
I'll have to go look for it. Or we'll see it tonight.
Possibly.
If I win.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, great moment. And yeah, I think Matt's probably right. I think he is going to have to buy that for Marisha.
Yeah.
Although, I forget, I think it was on YouTube. Somebody mentioned that for episode 100, they all dressed in as their characters. And we're coming up on that.
Yep.
So maybe they'll do it again.
Yeah.
So it's a question, though, of do they dress as their original art?
Is
the
there
Jorhassian
or the party?
Yeah.
Or do they all draw a name out of a hat and dress up as each other?
Secret Santa style?
Yeah.
That could be interesting. If they're going to do that, they would have had to already draw it, though, because...
Yeah.
You can't just throw together a Jester costume for Travis.
But I would love to see them try.
Although I think Yasha or Caduceus I'd like to see Travis dressed as.
Yep.
And I think Yasha would be more fitting. Although it was nice to see Ashley starting to flex a little. Yeah. Especially at the end of the episode.
Yeah. Personally, I'd like to see Sam dressed up as Jester. Sam's take on Jester a little more.
Fair. Well, we get a short interaction with the Marquis at the party.
Yep.
He doesn't really care about them. You could definitely tell that this is the kind of guy that basically Mark Bernardin tells a story about Gene Simmons, and the punchline of the story is, if you lived my life, would you remember you? Is what Gene Simmons says to a guy who's like, I don't know if you remember, we met years ago, and Gene's like, if you were me, would you remember you? That's sort of the vibe I got from the Marquis.
Yeah, definitely.
The dwarf captain, was it Trevi? Or Trebi?
Trebi, I think.
Throws some shade at Ford.
Yep.
Oh, the hat. I have to. Okay. So when Caduceus Talison's like, it's the biggest pirate hat we could find, and they're like, can you make it through the door? My head immediately went to Naked Gun.
Yeah. And
O.J. Simpson walking and hitting the door frame and all the dust coming out of his afro. And they were like, maybe if you tilt your head, and that's how O.J. had to get through the door in that movie. So that was a lot of fun in that moment. But yeah. Lord Sharp makes an appearance.
Yes.
Quite early. Jester hides from him. And he comes on to Yasha, which I thought was an interesting choice.
Yeah.
And came on strong. And also Jester abandoning Yasha in that moment and then rescuing her was also more foreshadowing of what's to come.
Yeah.
Which she confronts him of sorts, which I said would happen. And she basically does exactly what she did that got her kicked out in the first place.
But Beth one-ups it.
Yes.
Let me see if I can jimmy that lock for you. Dagger of Denial.
That's, yeah. One wonders what's going to be asked. Because eventually they're just going to have to get a ladder to get him down.
Yeah.
Because,
or remove the door.
Yeah. But it's like, what did you do? Or who did this? Of course, then that might be.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So.
Did everyone introduce themselves to him or just Yasha? Because I think he just knows Jester and Yasha's names.
Yes.
So, who did this to you? Jester Lavore and her Jorhassian friend.
I don't think he implicates Yasha. Because he strikes me as the kind of sleazy douchebag that when Jester gets arrested and they come to him, he says, well, I didn't say give them your name. I could, but if you do this for me, I'll make this go away for her.
See, I can see that very much happening, 100%, but I can also see him playing the angle. She said she was from Jorhas. You know, I mean, they're not in the Empire, but the city is very closely allied with the Empire.
Yeah, it's true.
The Jorhassian friend, to make it even worse on Jester. Oh, she's conspiring with Jorhas.
I see what you're saying. Gotcha.
I can see him doing either one of those.
Yeah.
Because he seems that sleazy, too.
Yeah.
Let me imply she's a traitor.
Well, and it puts her up in profile with all of the authorities in the city.
Yeah. Not
just this guy and his friends.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Taliesin, the drug dealer, makes another appearance. And casts tongues, true sight, and then calm emotions to chill her out after she starts freaking out.
Yeah.
And says, okay, have fun.
Player's handbook out here real quick.
What true sight, I'm assuming, is what you're...
Nope.
Or tongues?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Taliesin was reading it off D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
I am a little surprised Matt didn't flavor her true sight experiencing into the ethereal plane. Seeing any ghosts.
Yeah.
Most royal palaces, castles, there's usually at least one ghost story.
Yeah. Whether it be a noble that died there or someone from the oubliette.
Yep. Jilted lovers.
Yeah.
depending on the cultural parallel.
Yep.
Yeah, we just got a return of the ethereal fish.
Yep.
But she sees a dragonborn in disguise, and the various people masking their appearance, making themselves look
fancier
and thinner.
Yeah.
I love Travis's. I could have been doing that. So, the Dragonborn. I have my thoughts.
Okay, what are they?
It's innocuous. And he is a refugee from Draconia.
Yeah. I assume the Draconia.
Probably the way Matt was playing him, a cousin of Tiberius.
Yeah.
If Matt wanted to put it, sort of tie in another campaign one sort of parallel. 2, not innocuous, very much nefarious. And they are the leader or in leadership of the cult of Tiamat.
Yeah.
That operates in Nicodranas, that Caliana was a captive of.
Yeah.
Who was a black dragonborn sorcerer.
Yep.
So it could be either of those things, and they will never know because they bounced.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unless Mark comes back from England and guest stars again.
Yeah. And they go after that cult in earnest.
Yeah.
But not Beth. Poisons Essek. I was trying to think what it was that they got that from. And I want to say they got it in the swamp, in Labenda swamp.
It could be.
But I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember.
And since Sam didn't take the proper notes, I think Matt was correct in setting the DC 12 con check.
Yeah, this is
because
standard.
it was so long ago. That's going to be where the monsters are going to be.
11 to 13 is the typical range for that time frame.
Yeah. So, but he still failed it.
Yeah.
Not a good Matt. Not a good Matt for night. Not a good night for Matt's dice.
Yeah. There was that callback. There was the manacles from.
Yes, which sadly would not have worked even if he had surpassed Essek's hit point total.
Yeah.
Because elves cannot be put to sleep by magic.
Yep.
Matt was kind enough to narrate the kind of thing, but realistically it would have been choo-choo. You look like you're expecting something.
Are these not just manacles?
Teleports away, Caduceus stop, charms the guards off the scent. You're gonna come with us. Which led to hilarity between Bo and Ford.
Yep.
Trying to, because Ford has never been the target of message or sending. And really, the Mighty Nine.
Not really. Yeah.
And Caleb never really target anyone else except each other.
Yeah.
And they still haven't caught on to targeting Frumpkin.
Yeah.
When Caleb is inside Frumpkin. Because if they target Frumpkin, they can talk to Frumpkin. Caleb will hear it. And then Caleb can respond where he is, next to them. So, we'll see if that ever happens. But Essek confesses his sins. I don't think that's right, but admits to what he's done.
Mm-hmm.
Admits that he is the one that gave them the beacons.
Yep.
That started this whole thing. And Veth, at the end of it all, welcome to the Mighty Nine. And the episode ends.
Yeah, you think Veth took into account the fact that means if Essek hadn't done that, her husband would have never been kidnapped and enslaved?
No?
Or that he would have never, her town would have never been overtaken for those experiments and him forced to work for the Cerberus Assembly?
Well, him being forced to work for the Cerberus Assembly is on the Cerberus Assembly. But on the other side of that coin now, and this is why she's an even better follower of the Traveler, and Jester sort of leads up to you're going to have a lot of babies. Veth definitely credits Essek with helping get that spell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is why she's able to go home.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Are they awash?
I think for her they are. They got her husband back. You know, he didn't die. So, yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the war isn't a thing for her because she was willing to reinitiate the war just to get back to being a halfling.
Yeah.
So that's a non-issue. The only issues I could see for her would be my husband went through this. My son was without any parent because of...
Yeah, but in the abstract, sure. But she also was willing to do that to thousands of other families herself for her own interest. True. So she can't really condemn Essek for fucking with strangers 1,000 miles away. I mean, from a top-down, far-away view, I mean, they were both going to do the same
people
thing.
Willing to do those things are the first people to condemn people for those things.
Fair. Yeah. But that does bring up the fact that the Assembly are huge winners in this.
Yeah.
Because they had 2 beacons. They have 1 now that the Dynasty doesn't know about.
Yeah.
That the Mighty Nine didn't tell anyone except Essek about. And they're trading prisoners. One of which is basically useless.
Yep.
But will further the Dynasty's investigation into the cult of the Chain Oblivion.
Right.
But the prisoner they're giving is the one who was the keeper of the beacons, who has the most experience with them. And that's who the Cerberus Assembly want to talk to.
Yep.
And Essek, we were talking before the show, our theory now is Essek modified his memory.
Yep.
Into making his experience match with the narrative that the Mighty Nine were feeding the Bright.
Yep.
And to pin him as the guy that gave the beacons away because of the cult. And who they are trading him to, no, he had nothing to do with it. And has nothing to do with the cult. So they will disappear him.
Yeah. But, well, they were told, I'm sure they were told because of the prisoner exchange. Our prisoner
except everyone involved with the prisoner exchange and the beacons knows that the guy had nothing to do with it.
Yes.
So they know he's not a cultist, so they can assure the king that he's
But
not a danger.
if Essek has told them, I modified his memory, now they can play the double agent thing. Hey, you're our buddy,
And eventually groom him to turn on Essek.
Yep.
To clean up the mess. Yeah.
Pull a Winter Soldier with him.
Yeah. And if anyone is going to do that, it's definitely going to be
Trent.
Yeah. November. Or was it?
Yeah.
Train car or something like that?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the activation for the Winter Soldier. Anyway.
Yeah, in the movie.
Yeah. And also, it might also serve Essek's purposes because he might be able to angle, I exposed this guy, I want his job.
Yep.
So now Essek becomes the keepers of the beacons in the dynasty. So now he has all the access that he always wanted but could never have.
Yep.
So he has his own access to his own beacons. The Empire has access to their own beacons. And they can correspond as he says they are planning to do. And he can do all of the horrible things that he's planning to do with Dunamancy.
And that's why we love Essek.
Yeah. So, upcoming episode. Well, MVP.
Yes. Mine was Laura.
I almost gave it to her as well.
And your pick was my runner-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, just, from the beginning, she was just kind of involved with everything. And
she was my initial pick. And I was like, can I give it to her 3 weeks in a row?
You see, I didn't give it to her last week. And Laura, she just, and we've talked about this many times before, she is on top of things with picking things up,
Yep.
And a lot of times it's a throwaway comment, but she knows what's going on, and everybody's like, yep, great, whatever, let's do this.
Yep.
5-6 episodes down the road. See, I was right. Remember when I said that, guys?
Yep.
And this whole episode was just her doing that. Or great narrative moments.
Yeah. I gave it to Sam for the big moments.
Goodbye scene.
Yeah. The goodbye scene was probably the biggest one. But the button at the end is why I think what cinched it for me.
Okay.
Just because, like, it summed up well. So the other one was when they were talking to Lewdness on the boat, or Lewdness and the ambassador guy whose name I'm blanking on. It was practically a fourth wall break. We're just heroes trying to save the world, and we're almost there because now they're 11th level, soon to be 12th level.
Yeah.
So definitely over the halfway point of their effort to save the world. So I enjoyed that moment as well. But yeah, the big one was the lead up to and going through the change, and the very, it's hard to say non-disruptive because it was kind of disruptive, but not loud. It was non-verbal, reminding us all what she was doing while everyone else was doing their thing. Also, I loved the Liam Planet of the Apes thing.
Yeah.
And then the payoff later, the Dr. Zayas comment.
Yeah.
So, and I think, I have a feeling, I don't know this for sure, but I have a feeling some of the glitter and costuming took place in that hour and 40 minutes that they were supposed to be on stage.
Yeah.
Because Marisha, I think I saw a tweet from Marisha saying how she had glitter like in her nose or something.
Yeah.
Because they didn't take it off. Or she didn't take it off when they got to the hotel.
Quick question. With the widow gas transmogrification, does she still have the tattoo on her face?
Yes, because her charisma is still 7.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's a Lightfoot halfling, in case people didn't pick that up.
But wouldn't that have given... Don't they get a bonus to charisma?
No. I think it's wisdom and dex.
No. The Ghostwise get the wisdom. 1 second. Charisma.
Oh.
So should she go to 8?
Yeah. And she should. I bet D&D Beyond didn't do it right because she has an extra modifier that she put on her charisma.
Yeah.
So I bet it didn't trigger because she lost the con mod from the goblin.
Exactly.
And lost all the hit points.
Yeah.
So it might not have picked up in the...
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure my memory was she started at 5. No. Yeah, she started at 5, right?
Yeah.
So, and the tattoo is actually +1, not +2.
Yeah.
So 6, so 7.
So 7
is what she should. So yeah, it calculated correctly.
Because the tattoo put her up a modifier.
That's right. Yeah.
5 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was just misremembering that modifier. So yeah, I look forward to her moving through enemy squares, hiding behind her allies. So
yes, I am a little sad though because now that she's a halfling, there is such a minuscule chance, especially since she usually shoots with advantage, of the crossbow backfiring and hitting her. Because it only happens on a natural 1.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's virtually never going to happen again.
Yeah. She will virtually never shoot herself in the eye again.
Yeah.
Which kind of takes completely negates the backdraw and leaves her only with the benefit of...
Yeah. I don't see a problem with that. Especially when Matt's counting that as damage he's doing and not in a turn.
I don't see I don't really have a problem with it, like from a gameplay standpoint, but it was such great moments in the narrative and how they...
Yeah. It's fair. And maybe Matt will narrate that it almost backfires now, but it shoots normal.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We're gonna... So, Essex said that there was someone else that they were worried about coming for the beacon. I talked about how we were gonna have a sea battle at the exchange. I think that's been properly now foreshadowed.
Oh yeah, that's gonna happen.
It's a question of who that group is, and I don't know if we have enough info. The Mighty Nine do not have enough information, therefore we do not have enough information. Yes. But Essek and Ludinus know who that is, but I don't think there's a way, or Ludinus maybe does, and Essex doesn't. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll find that out or not.
Yeah.
But tonight is Sam and Marisha.
Yep.
So we will see you guys next week.
I guess.